So let's take a first question from Bhaskar. He's asking, let me fix my screen. Okay, how do you balance the need for immediate performance improvement with the long-term goals of architectural renovation? It's a good question.
Yeah. And I feel like, I want to throw it back to my first guiding principle, which is, make it work, make it right, and make it fast.
Hmm.
So if you have something that is working already and, it's serving the function, then you can focus on making it
Hmm.
fast. And any renovation initiative shouldn't come at the cost of not supporting your existing customers, right? So it should be something that's kind of done in parallel to maintaining what you already have. And that's where the strategic foresight comes into picture, where you're envisioning that, hey, in 2 years what I have today is not going to be good enough, so let me work
Yeah,
on this renovation initiative. It's not something that you start renovation is not something that you start doing when you have a fire going on already, because at that time
that's
if you
right.
have a fire you focus on fixing that and
That's right. That's well
extinguishing it.
said. Yeah, that's very, very good answer. I liked how you ended your answer. It makes a lot of more sense. So there's another question coming from Sophia, and that is, what role do microservices play in transforming legacy architectures? What are the best practices for transitioning from monolithic to microservice-based architecture? I think it's a very long question, but perhaps you can answer the first one that can help.
Totally. So I feel like microservices is a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And asking, just comparing solutions might not make you pick the right answer. So start from the first principles of like, hey, what is best for my business? Am I serving 100 customers that pay me a lot of money? Monolithic architecture works fine just for a
Yeah.
100 users. But hey, am I serving 1 billion users? And at that point, a monolithic architecture is not going to serve you well. So it is very context dependent. And I would like to quickly address the second part is that if
Yeah.
you are looking to transition a monolithic architecture to a microservice based architecture, then please look up the strangler fig pattern that Martin Fowler popularized, which
Mm-hmm.
is a great way to kind of detangle the monolithic architecture and then build microservices without interrupting your users.
How do you remember these names? I mean, as an IT guy, right? I've not really heard anyone with all these quotations and these principal names. It feels like I'm talking to a physicist, right?
It's like I will be the first one to say that theory is the easy part. So
Uh,
I am now talking about the easy part, and
yeah,
translating this to reality and practice is
yeah,
the hard part. So I don't want to take
yeah,
credit for just remembering, theory.
yeah,
But yes,
yeah,
theory is
yeah.
useful. It's useful for
Yeah,
inspiration.
it is. I mean, I'll tell you, I was very bad with theorems, so I'll skip that part. So we'll move to the next question. That's where Ganesh is asking: is there any relation between conservativeness and legacy system? Hmm.
Conservativeness. I'm trying to think how I should interpret the
Yeah,
meaning.
there's a lack of reference with this question. I give that. Perhaps if Ganesh could add a little more reference to it, right? Then we can definitely come back to this. This question coming from Deepak, right? That is, how do you ensure data integrity and continuity of service during a large-scale architectural overhaul, especially in a high-stake environment like payment processing? Oh, that's good.
So I think that's where the evolutionary architecture principle comes into practice, where one, we're making small changes in our renovation journey. And
Hmm.
each time we make a small change, we're putting it out there and testing it with a small percentage of users to
Hmm.
see, to minimize the blast radius and the impact radius. So, one, make small change, two, test it on a small set of users to
Yeah.
increase your confidence in what you've
Hmm.
built. Once you do all of that to increase your confidence, then you can ramp up the traffic. You can ramp up the number of people who see this new feature, or maybe the same feature but in your new architecture, right? It could be an innovation or a renovation that you did in your new architecture. So this slow way of um, ramping up traffic and ramping up
Hmm.
the usage of your renovated architecture is the only way to go, is the pragmatic way to go.